They've been home for one day. This is one day that they've been home. Yeah, one day. This was completely empty before they came home. This is one fucking day. One 24-hour period. Absolutely fucking degenerate.
I didn't record any of it. I mean, like, literally none of it. I recorded, I think, like, some audio just because I had some, I was playing guitar or whatever. And then I got interrupted and ended up not actually playing guitar, but my recorder was still going. So I ended up recording some of it, but, like, I went on a date. I think it went well. But I have no idea if it was even really, like a date, you know, like even if you ask them, like, are we flirting? Like, are we on like a date? I don't know what I want. I know what I think I want. How do I know what I want until I know if I get it? You know, I don't know what the hell I want with anybody. Not for any of the reasons I want it. Not in any of the body compatibilities in the ways that I want it. None of it's right. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good. I'm at the point where, like, I know what I want. And what I want is kinky friends. I don't want people who are, like, saying that they're kinky. Or, like, are, like, kind of, like, maybe, oh, I could kind of get into it, you know, a little bit kinky. I want friends who aren't creepy, but who are open, and they don't necessarily have to be open to me. They just have to be open. And, shit. Well, there goes that idea. I'm having a tough day since I got home and smoked too much. I was having a great day earlier at the cemetery, and then it's just like there's nothing more for me to look forward to now. Like, everything sucks going forward. It was a great day. Great day. I'm going to be talking about it for a long time. One of the best days I've had. But now there's like screaming little kids in my backyard and mowing. And I have to live and be alive as myself. That's like a lot to deal with. With me must be so annoying because I'm a poet. And that makes me dangerous because it means I recognize good dialogue. And good dialogue has to have subtext and it has to have alternative meaning, and if it doesn't have both of those things, it isn't good dialogue. And I'll put it to you like this: most dialogue in most books isn't good. It's just not good dialogue. Some dialogue in most books is great, and everything else is mediocre to get there. And that's just kind of how books are. You know, that's why people consider things like a masterpiece. Again, I'll say that again. They need subtext, right? Which is like what it means beneath its meaning. Like someone says the following: I broke up with my dom. Right? What does that mean? What does it mean? Like, does that mean that, like, what does that mean? You know? And so there's three meanings. So that's why, you know, I'll give you time to think about it. There's actually three meanings. So the first is that the subtext is I'm single and I want you, and that there's tension that we're building here and escalating, right? Because I'm telling you that a power vacuum exists, and I'm role-playing you into that role, which is why I'm telling you about it as a story, to hint that that's what could be happening, right? And if you're smart enough to pick up on that, then you get what's called subtext. Ulterior meaning could be like bored very quickly when what you can project into them stops kind of being able to come back out at you, if that makes sense. Like, they get done with their trauma dump. Wow, they're so fascinating, they're so brooding and dark. Then they get done with the philosophy and the bullshitting. Then they start telling you what they really think of the world. And then they start basically telling you what the rest of their day is going to look like, because they're actually disengaged from you and they're running and processing as they're like subconsciously in the, like, because people are very routine oriented. So, like, you know, it's like it's past their breakfast. You know, they're going to want breakfast. If it's past their lunch, they're going to want lunch. If it's approaching their bedtime, they're going to start getting ready for bed. They'll keep talking to you as if that's not what they're doing. But they'll start looking around, they'll start getting antsy, then they get up and they start moving, then they get out of the room, they start brushing their teeth, and then but before they know it, they're like, hey, you know, it's been really fun hanging out, but they already somehow, like, the night already went by, they're already ready for bed, then you're getting kicked out, right? Like, unless the dialogue's been good, then you're staying. Then it's like, pass me a toothbrush. You brush your teeth with this? Come here. right? Like things can get like kinky, connected. Like and what's really fun, I think, is when the person who's like quote unquote doming or writing the scene is like, it's like role play. It's a constant role play. Like being with someone who's just like, they're not smart. They're meta self-cognizant. Like they're aware that they're aware that they're aware. There's like 3 levels of awareness. But the third level of awareness is the ability to self-craft that, and then look at that. Like self-crafting, it's the second level. The first is knowing that you exist. The first is like you go into a scene and you're like, whoa, where am I? I didn't know I had a body. Right? The second is you go into it knowing that you have a body, but not necessarily knowing who you are, but being prepared to use your body and going into it as such, even where else that your mind goes doesn't really matter. The third level is like the awareness that you do that, and the ability to therefore start planning and really telling people what you want. And this is where people start really gearing into like lifestyles and stuff like that. And then once you're up and flying with like the lifestyle, it becomes much a different approach than the normie stuff that they're, controlling you every bit as much as they're controlling your gender orientation, the word is, right? Like, what you were and were not allowed to love was very much dictated by your middle school bullies, whether you like that or not, and their parents. And the thing is even if those people have completely changed their minds on all the issues and now they're big trans supporters, back then they weren't. And if they were, they weren't in such allyship with you that they were giving me specifically the words, because I can only speak for myself, to say like, hey, you could be divergent and different. And so for me, like I'm starting at level 5 and having to realize that there's like a base level that other people experience that I don't experience. Like like other people seem to be tied into this world very differently, where they don't have things like dysmorphia or dysphoria. And I'm finding that the people that do have those things, a lot of it gets expressed through kink. Shh, don't tell anyone I told you that, because then it starts to get into like, is it therapy? Is it catharsis? What is the point of it? Why do we do it? Who gets to police it, and how? What is ethical when it is explicitly non-ethical? Who is good at communicating? Who is bad at communicating? Who, like I was talking about today, becomes predatory within a community almost exclusively because they're good and they're capable at like communicating. Like, you say all the right things to lure people in, but then you're still a monster. You're just using the words of consent the way that people won't see coming, and then you're showing up every Sunday and you're like literally police. Someone sent me a text, I'm very distracted today. All I want to do is flirt. That's level 2 self-cognizance, right? It is not a attempt to say that in good dialogue, in a role play, sending it. It's just saying it directly, speaking for yourself. Role playing yourself 24/7. Some people get into that, some people don't. Some people go down a layer and reduce to just their body. Some people go up a level and become self-cognizant of their body in its usage, and then others dissociate. And I think that where my trauma has led me is being so dysphoric and despondent and just disgusted with my own body that I am now in a position where I don't have to go into a discussion as if I'm a clueless child, not knowing what really my instincts are and what I want, and just satisfying an element of like baseline humanity, like human, like literally like ape to ape instinct that is suppressed culturally out of our behavior, and what we assume to be typified behavior is actually antithetical to the spirit of most people. And if that's true, then it takes into consideration the following truths of the world. One, most people, male or female, it doesn't. I don't even know where it clusters more. Probably in females, but bisexuality is part of the continuum. And the second is that gender is what's the word? Amorphous. That may be I forget what the word is, but it's like it isn't like it's metastasizing, dude. Your system is cancer, and so what looks to be cancer is actually just the harmonic state of the universe trying to really assert itself. And like, as much as they can attach that to a leftist agenda to try to co-opt a queer movement into a woke movement, like, it's not going to work, dude. Like, you can't. It's a liberation movement, and part of that is tied up, unfortunately, in the trauma. And the trauma was inflicted upon us. Like, we didn't just like choose to be traumatized. Like, that's idiotic to consider. Like, oh wow, you have your trauma as part of your identity. It's like, no, asshole, I had my identity and then you fucking traumatized it, and then now you're gonna gaslight me and try to tell me that that's a problem that I expressed, that I'm actually traumatized. Like, no shot, buddy. Sorry, that's way too right wing, and I'm not falling for your shenanigans. And so while most people are very much still falling for the propaganda that was placed there in middle school, in a time, in a bygone era, that the kids today are still definitely being abused by, there's no question about it. The system still subsists on abuse and, intolerable treatment and brainwashing. I mean, that is just what public school is, of course. But the gender variable is at least kind of like, again, to use this word, metastasized. Like, it is a cancer that is now blighting the system from the inside and clogging its arteries, because the system itself is truly a horrendous system, and good for the cancer. If this is what they consider cancer, I mean, like, they have a serious problem on their hands. They can't keep their body moving with our freedom. It's not even their freedom. Their system depends, because it's not like it's not comparing our freedom to their freedom. It's not one or the other. It's we are trying to exist, and they're just like, they have a system that needs to be upheld, and where that system cannot be upheld because of gender, well, they're going to be pushing back on that. Surprise, surprise. Like, segregating a bathroom, for example, also reinforces the mental state and mental capacity of people to, like, first of all, meet and engage, which, like, to be honest, I don't want people flirting with me when I'm in the bathroom. But I'll tell you another really dirty secret. 90% of the girls that I meet, 90% of the conversations start in the bathroom, because you can hear each other at a club, right? You just go in there to meet girls. Yeah. And actually, we have privacy stalls, and we have no gender rule. They need to remove the words men and women from those signs, or we're done, is how I feel about it. And most quote-unquote progressive places have done exactly that. I asked this girl today, I was like, are you combat trained? She's like, no. Are you? I was like, no. It's just an edgy question, Are you weapons proficient? She's like, no. Are you? I was like, no. She's like, well, and I was like, nah, if it wasn't an emphatic yes, it's not, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. I know you got probably your pepper spray, you got probably your little taser gun that your ex-boyfriend taught you. I know all about it. I know all about your fucking rotten culture, and I know all about it, and it doesn't make you a rotten person. It just makes you, who have gone through the system, deliberately culpable to the upholdings of the system. So, like, personally, I don't make apology for people that get along with it and go along with it. I think everyone should be striving to destroy it from the moment they become cognizant of the system itself. And by the time you hit level 2 meta self-cognizance around that issue, you start getting into the territory of quote-unquote activism. What about activism as queer? What if just doing queerness is activism for yourself? And then people are going to get mad about that, and they'll be like, so what, your activism is just your identity? You're just an activist? You're just like, it's like, yes. And look how much more fun I'm having. And I'm getting to discuss things on such a deeper level that you're never going to try to understand, because you literally reduce it to fundamentalism. I actually think that Mr. Dingaling should be illegal. Like, I don't think that there should be, I think that level of public disturbance should be unlawful. Like, it's just, like, it's so, like, whoa, what, the guy can't sell ice cream? No, asshole, he can't. There's no reason for it. Like, if that's really how he makes his living, he could make his living a different way. He could fucking work for fucking Amazon delivering trucks if he wants to drive all the way the fuck around. But, like, they shouldn't be able to just sell, like, it's got to be a front for a surveillance company or something like that, like, it's got to be like they got to be doing something more sinister. They got to be. Otherwise, why would they torture every single person with their stupid music? Why would we let them get away with it? Like, if I was Joseph Stalin, bro, like, there's no ice cream. There's no ice cream. Oh yeah, they have a red light. Oh. They're never gonna repaint it. They love that we're walking over it. They fucking hate us.
That's true.
Nah, the people who did it, I found out, is actually not the city at all. It was a group called In Our Own Voices that did it. Like, yeah, they were given permission to. So the city didn't actually change a damn thing because we protested. They were like, we don't. see it. I see it. I'm spooked by it. It's got a collar, so it's definitely not like a mangy alley cat. Where are we? Somewhere in New York.
Just little fox.
Yeah. Alright, onward we go. Hi, little kitty cat. Goodbye, little kitty cat. Yeah, this cat is disinterested in us. It's busy looking around for other interesting things.
Oh, it's a little ginger cat. He's so cute.
He is pretty cute.
All right, I'm not going to deal with the normal, introductions, all that, because we all know each other. I know many of you by first and last name. My name's Max, obviously. What do I even want to talk about? Cool, so I've come up with a new system that I think is going to take the science world by storm. You see, I have a classification system for birds. That I think all birds, there are 4 types of birds. I believe truly that no one can stump my system. People may disagree with it. You may disagree with my classification of birds, but no one can name a bird that does not fit this system. And I'm willing to offer $20 to anyone who can stump me. Now, the 4 types of birds are government surveillance, dinosaur, profoundly gay, and last but not least, Antifa.
This was like a month. Without that power behind him, he just shrunk. Excuse me, a Mongolian uncircumcised penis. You get what I'm saying? And fucking Pelosi look like the scrotum.
Meta shot that you'll ever see on my vlog. This is the most meta ever. What's the date today?
The 23rd.
Thank you. It's the 23rd, 2023. Thanks for recording that, by the way.
No problem.
It's like 11:30. I'm going to bed, so thanks for joining. It's been an interesting night. Sorry I don't have any good footage of me like playing music when I was out at the bar. I played like a whole set, but like my friend didn't do great at recording it, so like I don't know. It is what it is. Right. The whole thing now. The whole entire thing.